Our series, What's New in 22, looks at the stories and the trends that will define the year to come. This morning, we turn to politics. President Biden's first year in office was dominated by the pandemic and its impact on the economy, rising inflation, and supply chain problems that cause widespread shortages. Also, a big item on the president's agenda, his Build Back Better plan, is still undone. So, what should we expect in 22? Well, CBS News political contributors Joel Payne and Leslie Sanchez join us to talk about this. Joel's a Democratic Party strategist. Leslie is a Republican strategist. Good morning. Good to see you both.
Yeah, good morning.
All right, Joel, let's start with you. Build Back Better is in the balance. How should Democrats regroup next year to get this done?
Well, obviously, Build Back Better is going to look different after the new year. We all saw the news of Senator Manchin, sharing publicly his concerns about the size of the package and the amount of the package. I think you'll see a scaled back Build Back Better bill. I think it'll still be significant and it'll be something that Democrats can sell, but it's not going to be as massive as the progressive base may have wanted. If you look at 2021, President Biden really struggled off schedule. The first part of the year was completely on schedule. He was able to predict all the responses needed related to COVID and all of the things that were going to reign over the first 6 months of his presidency. But the second part of the year, Afghanistan, rising consumer costs, all of the minutia of Build Back Better and the infrastructure bill leaking out into the public. Those are the off-schedule things that I think the president and the White House struggled with. And I think going into 2022, you're going to see them try to rebound and get things back on track.
So, Leslie, let's talk Republicans. When you hear Kevin McCarthy, the minority leader, he's confident that Republicans are going to win back the House. What is the message, though, that Republicans are running on? Do we still see folks that want to be like former President Trump, or is there still an anti-Trump or more conservative Republican strain through the party that thinks that they can win?
Yeah, I'm glad you started there, Vlad. A big part of the movement and what you're hearing on Capitol Hill is they're saying with Biden administration, you have a crisis of confidence in being able to move through successfully the COVID-19 crisis and pandemic. There was an expectation that this cooling period of a different style of leadership under Biden would allow for a very clear understanding of next steps of how to handle variants. But even the denial or rejection of increasing and ramping up testing, for example, in preparation for a holiday surge, in preparation for an increase in variants, and where a lot of Americans fundamentally feel they're stuck right back where they started. This mercurial electorate is going to continue to swing back until they find confidence in leadership. And that's where McCarthy and a lot of Republicans are seeing some daylight. Every day they tell me they're increasing their optimism. They have 23 Democrats right now that have announced their retirement. They expect more. And the bigger issue for Republicans, they're looking at that redistricting map. Republicans have control of at least 20 states, if you include kind of their redistricting control and independent commissions that are appointed by Republican legislatures compared to just a handful of Democrats. That's nearly 200 seats that they're redrawing. So with that confidence crisis, with this increase in inflation Joel talked about, and the new redistricting, Republicans see it as a very good time leading into 2022.
Joel, back to you. What does President Biden and the Democrats need to do to avoid major midterm losses?
Well, Nate, look, history says they're going to lose seats, even in the best of circumstances. Again, I worked a decade ago, the first 2 years of the Obama administration in Congress, and it was one of the most productive Congresses of all time. It was, close to the Great Society in terms of productivity, and Democrats still lost that midterm. Midterms are designed for the incumbent party to lose. And so there is an inevitability to that I think most political parties understand. I do think, however, the president and his party do have a chance to get their feet back under them. You pass this Build Back Better bill, you spend the next 11 months selling infrastructure, selling Build Back Better, talking about the change that you've brought to the American people, and also creating that contrast between a Biden version of America and the version of America that was voted out 11 months ago with Donald Trump. That's your best chance to hold on to power. But again, they're fighting an uphill battle and there's a lot of wind in their face.
Speaking of Donald Trump, Leslie, I want to get to you. You got about 30 seconds. Do you think Republican candidates will be loyal to the former president, Donald Trump, or do you think they're going to back another candidate?
Jamie, follow the money, right? So increasingly, in some places, Trump can continue be an effective person in raising money and kind of mobilizing the populist base. However, you're starting to see people pull away independently, particularly governors who've had some success at pushing against Biden administration. And it's some of the tenets, the themes, populist themes, but not Donald Trump directly.
Joel Payne and Leslie Sanchez, thank you so much.